My special guest today is Robin Schwartz. She's a professor here at William Paterson University whose breathtaking photos have been featured in Oprah magazine, The New Yorker, and National Geographic's magazine, just to name a few. This year, she won the Guggenheim Fellowship in Photography, and we are honored to have her here on News Now. What I wanted to ask you, as a photographer, how do you see the world differently than other people?
I think I see the world in animals, and I always have. I see animals first and people second.
Really?
Except for my daughter.
Wow, that's, that's interesting. But so how did she get involved?
She's my daughter, so she was born into it. It's like we're a circus family. My husband's an artist, and I was working here at William Paterson, and I've always worked with animals as my subjects for 30 years. So when I had my daughter, it just became a no-brainer to photograph her with animals, and she's really adept at it.
Do you see her differently behind the camera than you do in her daily day-to-day?
Sure, sure. I mean, the photographs are staged, and she really works at it. People think that that the animals take direction. She has to go with the flow. These animals aren't actors. They're not tamed. They're not trained. Many times they're not domesticated.
Wow.
So I have to depend on her ingenuity and her knowledge of behavior to make the pictures. Because I'm behind the camera and she's in front of the camera, and she's a full partner, a collaborator, especially as she's gotten older.
So as a mother, was that nerve-wracking at all?
I have to trust the caretakers. No one would let me in with their animals if they thought that my daughter would be in any sort of circumstance that would be dangerous. No one would do that. And many of these people have children, so they can identify with her, and they first see my work on the web, and so that sort of vets me into their homes. And I deal with a certain, like the cream of the crop of people that have these animals. So
as far as your work overall, what photo assignment do you feel has had the most impact on you professionally and personally?
Right now, the last one, which was my dream vacation for the New York Times Magazine, and I ended up pitching 10 stories, and it was the swimming pigs in the Bahamas. And I also pitched taking my daughter with me, and so we, for only 2.5 days, we're there photographing people ecstatically happy to be with 12 pigs.
What do you find rewarding about teaching here at the university?
I want my students to not feel obligated to do their assignments, but I want them to find what makes them happy. And if they're happy, it's so much easier to look at their work. If they don't like their work's actually going to be boring. So I was a student here as an undergraduate, and I know how important it is to like what you do.